Hi and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another session brought to you by VLAN Asia. For today's session, Business Shouldn't Stop, 5 Ways to Engage Your Customers. We have Mark Ghaderi. He is the author of the book Winning with Social Selling and the Winning Formula. He is also a keynote speaker, a sales acceleration strategist, sales coach, and an entrepreneur passionate about the art and science of sales, raising the bar for the profession of selling. Basically, he has a huge passion about helping sales professionals succeed. Now, without further ado, let me hand it over to Mark.
Great, thank you so much, Norman. Thank you for your amazing introduction. Let me see, let me start sharing my screen here for you, everybody. There we go. I hope everybody can see my screen. Let me see if it pops up here. Let's see what we got. It's happening. Let me know when you guys can see my screen. Oh. Is it happening?
All good, Mark.
Okay, good. Great. All right, thank you very much for everybody. Oh, there we go. My phone here is a little slower. Okay, good. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here with you all in this interesting times, I must say. It has been this has been very interesting times. Of course, what's happening out there in the marketplace is really making us, as Norman mentioned, my name is Mark Ghaderi, and I think we have a very relevant and timely topic for everyone here on the call, or anybody who has to make a living by selling something. Definitely the reason we're having this session is that really for the past 2 months, almost 2 months, we've been engaged with a lot of our clients, helping to actually better understand and adapt and leverage this current crisis so they can get better at what they're doing. And in the process, we come up with a lot of best practices and on selling and how to manage your business that we'd like to share with you, and hopefully you can use this for your business. Now, what's happening is that, of course, we all know this COVID-19 pandemic has impacted billions of people already. And from everything I see and hear, I don't think this effect is going to go away anytime soon. It's not going to be a short-term 1 or 2 month thing. So I think it's really important for businesses to understand that. First of all, understand that this is the situation and accept it and start to adapt and change the way to do business. So really, that's why we have this session. And anybody who's been in sales, has been having a really tough time right now, And so what's happening, of course, all those conferences, trade shows, marketing events, customer meetings that you plan to attend and generate pipeline and revenue, they're pretty much all canceled. A lot of those opportunities you thought you had, they've either been postponed or they're actually canceled, So it's not an easy environment to be in. It's not an easy environment to be selling. Absolutely understand that, because again, priorities have shifted quite dramatically literally within weeks, and it's unprecedented in the marketplace, right? And the question is what to do. What are we going to do? Because we can't just sit around and wait, right? That's really the bottom line. And at this point, I wanted to say that even though we are here for just 50 minutes or something, this is not a lecture. This is really, I like to really learn. The reason I'm doing it, I want to learn more and I want to learn from you. And so we really want to make sure this is interactive. So I'm going to ask you guys, ask everybody on the call to please share your thoughts and ideas and give us some feedback as we go through. So in the spirit of that, I'm going to ask some questions, just pop up some questions, ask you to help me answer this. So that helps us better adjust my message to what we're delivering here. First of all, I want to ask you, are you or your business going to meet your revenue target for this year? If you're a salesperson, or if you're a business owner, or if you're a manager, are you going to meet your revenue target for this year? Basically, all I'm asking is to just type in a yes or a no in the Q&A box. Or make it even easier, just with a Y or an N. That's easy enough, just one letter, two letter and then hit enter. So 2 push, yeah? So do me a favor, put that in. And Norman, if you don't mind, would you just take a look, because I'm kind of like busy doing this, just to make sure I don't get distracted. Tell me what you see and what the responses are. Let's take 10 seconds, give people a chance to give in their input. Let me see if I can find out from here, if I can see what people are saying. So, because this is what I hear, because I've been talking to at least a couple of dozen clients I've been working with, and this is what I'm hearing. So let me go to here. Let's see what we got. And all right. So how's it looking there? Just type a yes and a no.
Yeah, the answers are coming in slowly, Mark. It's coming in.
Okay, good. That's okay. I can actually switch in and see. Sorry, by the way, I'm new at using Teams. Again, we all have to adapt. So I don't think so. It's a yes. It's a no. No. Well, that's good. You guys are doing well. You guys must be in the medical supply business or something, I'm guessing.
It's quite a resounding no. There's a lot of people saying no.
Oh, that's good. Well, why are you on the call then? Go home. No, you're already home. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah, so everybody seems to be not meeting their revenue targets, which is not surprising.
They're not meeting. Okay. I'm sorry. No, I said no. I don't have. Okay, good. Okay, not good actually, but I got you. So basically, the bottom line is, and well, that's pretty much what is happening across, every company I talk to. I mean, literally, I'm talking to companies daily, and really we try and help them to cope with this. So definitely times are not that easy. Okay, good. So basically, this is a good session for you then. This is relevant, all right? So that's what we're really going to talk about. How do we actually work in this environment? Very just a quick introduction, just to make sure who the heck is this guy talking. Norman was kind enough to give me a very simple, quick, amazing introduction. I've been working with sales organizations for over 20 years, helping teams really to build and tune up their sales and customer success engine. Our company is based in Singapore, but of course we work regionally at APAC. I've been here in Asia. I'm from the US, but I've been in Asia for about 20 some years. And I've sold in every market here, and I work with hundreds of companies. Our job is to deliver exponential sales pipeline and revenue growth at the leading companies in APAC by transforming sales and customer success teams. I've written a couple of books. You see them there. It's the 2 books, The Winning Formula. Winning Formula, and the other one is Winning with Social Selling. The book on the left is Winning Formula is a high impact prospecting for executives, which is very relevant right now. And the book on the right, The Winning with Social Selling, is all about how to leverage social media in selling and becoming more successful in sales. Of course, extremely relevant right now. I'm going to talk about that later. So just a couple of weeks ago, I wrote an article. You can look it up in my LinkedIn profile. The title was "Don't Panic, Pivot." The point of this was, this is a crisis. As in any crisis, every human being have a more a knee-jerk reaction, initial reaction, what to do. But we need to remember, and what I've emphasized in the article as well, please take a moment, it takes 5 minutes to read it, is that a lot of times under crisis, under huge level of anxiety, we make decisions that are not that sound when you think of them long term. They may not be the best decision that you make under high stress. So it's best not to panic. Instead, look at ways that you can change, you can turn things around and change the game. Okay, that's really the whole point of the article that I wrote. And really this is what we need to do. To illustrate the point, I want to point out 2 recent financial crisis that has happened that had a big impact on the economies. If you look at this slide on the left side, you see basically a graph of the financial market, the Dow Jones stock market. what happened after the September 11, the terrorist attack on New York, basically you see the stock market just crashed within a day. But as hard as it was, as basically went down to zero, within a few months, 3-4 months, their markets recovered, right? And then the graph on the right, what you're seeing is a personal consumption during the 2008 financial crisis. Most of the people should remember that. It was a pretty tough time. I was selling for a big company at that time, and suddenly all my pipelines just froze. Nobody was buying. And of course, as you see, the graph goes down and goes negative. So people really stopped spending money for a few months. And it was a huge crisis for everybody. But of course, what happened, again, within a few months, things came back up. So this is really important to keep perspective. And what I want, the message is, all crises are temporary. Crises, by nature, crises are temporary. They're not everyday thing. But the important thing is to remember is that you can make that crisis permanent based on your attitude and your action. So you want to make sure, if you want to make it out, in a good shape, make it out of a lot of the crisis well, you got to make sure you have the right attitude, and you need to make sure you take the right actions. And that's what we're going to really talk about. Okay. Now, when it comes to taking, having the right attitude and taking the right action in any crisis, because when I consult, I've been consulting companies for decades, and when it comes to consulting companies, especially when it comes to a situation like this, when you have a challenge that you have to deal with, very urgently, it's really always important to remember there are things you can control and there are things you cannot control. There are a lot of things, external things you can't control. You can't control what the virus is doing. You can't control where it's going. But what you can control is internal stuff, what you can do about it. So you don't need point to worry so much about external stuff because you can't do much about. But you need to focus on what can I do internally, what can I do as a person on my own or in my company to change the game, and really focusing on what you can do and what you can control. And what I want to talk about, really touch on 3 pillars of success in your life, professional, personal life, that you control and you make the decision how to deal with it. And those 3 pillars of success, you can remember, is your attitude, your behavior, and your technique. Those are the 3 things you can control, okay? Outside of this, you don't have much control. And same with this crisis. You can definitely control your attitude, you can control your behavior, and you can control your technique. And we're going to really talk about that and how you can go about doing that. I'm not sure if this slide is okay. Good. So you got attitude, behavior, and I'm looking at my other screen. It's going very slowly. I'm not sure if hopefully it's faster for you guys. All right. So let's talk about each one of these. Let's talk about attitude and belief. The thing about beliefs and attitude is that beliefs and attitudes are self-fulfilling, which means when you believe in something, based on your belief and your attitude, you're going to make a judgment call. And based on that judgment, you're going to take action about what your beliefs are. And those actions generate results that end up supporting your original belief. So let me give you an example. For example, if you're a glass half full kind of person where you think any challenge is an opportunity, then you're going to behave the same way. You see a challenge, you see it as an opportunity, therefore you look for how can I leverage this to get better at what I do or get what I want or achieve my goal. And based on that belief that glass is half full, you're going to take action based on this is an opportunity, not a challenge. And therefore the results you will get will support that because your actions are focused on gaining momentum, getting something, okay? But if you're a glass half empty kind of person, then you're going to see everything as a negative thing. That's going to be, this is not good. Your judgment is, oh my God, this is terrible. What are we going to do? We can't do anything right now. You're helpless. Things are bad. Then the result you get is like basically supports it, right? And that supports your belief. I want to take it one step further. This is very important. That's why I want to go take it one step further. Give you a scenario I see literally every day talking to our clients. I'm going to put it in a sales context. When I talk to clients and I talk to a lot of salespeople, the mindset is the world is going to hell. Nobody's buying. Nobody's in the right mind going to buy from me. Why do I even bother? This is terrible. And then what happens, of course, this is a terrible time for me to sell. I can't even find anyone to buy my product. Therefore, what they do is, of course, they say, I'm just going to sit and wait until this thing is over. But unfortunately, this is not going to be over anytime soon. We need to, first of all, accept that reality. It's not going to finish in 2 weeks or 2 months, okay? Or they're going to say, well, for example, if some of you guys are business owners, you have salespeople, you have reps that work for you, they're out there, or yourself, your sales, or what the salesperson does, what the company does, is, well, I know times are tough, but my boss tells me I need to make effort. So I'm going to make some half-hearted effort to call some people that I know from past. Maybe I blast out some emails to a few people. And again, because you don't believe this is going to work, you're not going to spend much time on that email. It's going to be some generic email, just like Dear John email, and you try to push products and that kind of thing, which of course it doesn't work, right? So therefore your efforts, what it does, it gives you the results you expect, which is you don't get anything. Then you tell your boss, hey, see, I told you nobody's buying, okay? That basically reconfirms that the world's going to hell, nobody's buying. So this is all about your mindset. And if you can't change your mindset, it's really hard to try anything. Nothing's going to work. Because if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to have the right behavior, and you're not going to get the results, period. So the first step is you need to break the pattern, which is to break the pattern of your mindset. You have to wake up in the morning that this is a new day, this is a great opportunity for me or for us to make a difference and help our customers get better. So you need to have the right mindset right off the bat. And the bottom line, the reason is why, I would say, because failure is not an option. At least for me, I'm sure for many of you, you have responsibilities to yourself, your family, your company, your organization, your employees, your employer, you have those responsibilities. Just failing is not an option. We need to get through this together and with work, hard work. This is always a very important quote to remember in these times like this. This is Winston Churchill from UK back in the World War II time. He said a very simple and powerful thing. He said, look, if you're going through hell, just keep going, okay? If you're in the middle of hell, there's no point sitting there, okay? Just keep going. The message is you got to keep going. You can't just stop and wait, okay? That's not an option. Now, let me stop right there. Just want to make sure we get some feedback from the gang. Any thoughts? I'm looking at the time. Make sure we're okay on time. All right. And any thoughts, Norman? Please, you can jump in. Anything you want to add? Any thoughts or comments that come from the audience?
Norman. If you have any questions, you can post them up on the question section, you guys.
Okay, yeah, please do. Please, by the way, if you put any questions there, if you do not get to cover it during this hour, I'll promise you, I'll get you an answer back within 24 hours. As long as I have your email or WhatsApp or whatever you have, I'll make sure we give you an answer back, okay? For me, definitely I'll give you the answers back within a day, all right? So here are the required beliefs for current environment. In this environment right now, these are core things that you got to be thinking about. You got to believe that I can help my customers be more successful. You have to believe that they can help your customers be more successful. And you're going to see this right now as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for my business to learn, or personally, to learn, adapt, and grow. This is a great opportunity for you to learn, adapt, and grow. The reality is, if you actually go ahead and hide for 3 months, 6 months, promise you when you come back, you'll be totally out of sync with the rest of the world and your customers. And your competitors will be eating your lunch, okay? You cannot sit out and wait this out. And guess what? When you call your customers in 2 months, they're gonna say, sorry, who are you again? They're not gonna remember you, okay? And the fact is, you have abandoned your market, your customers, the time they needed to see you the most, okay? you got to think that I can help people in this crisis and in the future. You must believe that. If you really don't believe your product is actually good enough, is actually helping anybody, then maybe you should be looking for a different job, to be honest. You have to believe in what you're doing. If you don't believe in it, it's not going to work. There are buyers, this is, again, that's a statement anytime, not just during crisis. There are buyers out there that need what I offer. You need to believe that there are buyers out there that need what you offer, okay? If you don't believe that, then something is wrong. Now, to that point, what I say is that, I hear sales goes, oh, the market is very tough out there, people are not buying. And my question is, sorry, was there any time that selling was easy? If you actually be a real salesperson, selling is not easy. It's never been easy. So was there a time that selling was easy for you? Are you telling me 2 months ago, customers say, hey, come on, I have a check for you waiting, just come pick it up? I have never had that happen. I've never heard of such a thing happen in my life or anybody else's, okay? So selling has always been hard. Now the game has changed. We have to adjust and adapt to it. But selling has always been difficult, and we need to understand that now is a different game. We need to change our game. And here I want to say, please, I want to take a second here to ask the audience here, anything you want to add about the belief for current environment? What do you think? What kind of belief you think you should have in the current environment for you to be successful or even survive? I'm going to take just a few seconds first. Please give me some ideas. I want to make sure people are out there. This is just another way to just put it there and go and watching Netflix or playing with your kids. Please. This is the time to share. Norman, let me know when you got some.
I think the market will continue buying because everybody's still got to live. So they have to buy, and that's how the market's going to work. It's just that who's going to sell it to them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. The people are still buying. They are buying. Of course, there has been a shift. Of course, the more non-essentials are not as important right now. Of course, many of the non-essentials are closed down in many markets. But there are people still buying. I see, you see companies become multi-billion-dollar companies overnight. Look at Zoom. Look at all these companies. Look at Amazon. They have tripled in size within the last 2 months. All of these companies, the people are buying. People are consuming. The question is, do you know the new game? And that's the next thing we're going to talk about. Thanks for that, Norman. So now let's talk a little bit about changing your behaviors. You got to change your selling behaviors. The fact is, the time has changed, the world has changed, so you need to change your behaviors. Some of the behaviors you were doing before, you need to pause them for now. You need to stop doing them for now. Well, we don't have much of a choice. But things like networking events, personal visits, marketing events, traveling, face-to-face meetings, those are basically not going to happen. And it's not going to happen for a while. By the way, if some of you guys and people are hopeful that, oh yeah, once the lockdown is over, we can start visiting a customer, you're dreaming. That's not going to happen. And we talk about it a little bit more. The new behaviors you need to really master are learn how to do video conference. Be really good at it. Not just sit in front of the camera or stare at the camera. Be good at it. Change your flow of conversation, change the flow of your meeting. It's because the engagement is different. There's different distractions, you got to work on that. These are kind of things, I've been training and selling, training a lot of remote selling teams for the last 15 years, setting up inside sales across the globe, helping them to ramp them up from scratch, teaching them how to sell remotely. Definitely there are some techniques there to it, so we actually train companies around that. To how to sell remotely, how to engage clients better remotely. Definitely, something that you can easily learn. Social selling, you got to leverage social selling now more than ever. Okay, absolutely, you guys leverage social selling more than ever. You need to make sure you learn how to do cold calling, emailing, leadership and branding. This is the time for you to build your brand because you can't see them face to face. You don't want them to forget about you. Definitely going to be doing webinars, online events. That's the thing that's going to be more popular. These are the new behaviors. Of course, there's a way to do it right, but you definitely want to do more of it. You don't want to just keep putting, webinars out there, but you got to make sure it's aligned with your customers. Those are the things those new behaviors that you got to follow. Now, talking about the techniques you got to develop your techniques. And, now is a great opportunity to skill up. This is, as they say, to sharpen the saw. Because every day for last years, I don't know how long you've been working, whether years or days or months you've been working, you've been busy, running here and there, right? But now you have a chance to slow down and take a little bit of time to skill up. You really need to leverage all the resources out there. Many companies have tons of free resources out there for people to learn. There's lots of, every country that I know of, countries, governments are spending trillions of dollars, dumping trillions of dollars into the marketplace to keep the economies going. Many, just like I live in Singapore. Singapore government has billions of dollars dumped in the market for people to get retrained, being hired, supporting employers to make sure they can actually hire people, to make sure they can train people, and the company subsidized. There's lots of programs out there to help you do that. You need to make sure you make an effort to look at what they are. Get certified. I deal with lots of tech companies, and many of them, all the vendors, Oracle, Microsoft, Zendesk, all these companies, HP, Dell, they have all these certification programs for their partners. I think most of them are free. You can actually get certified on these things. That helps you professionally, personally, for your future growth, for your career. Use the time to do that, okay? Pick an industry to learn more about. Pick an industry you're interested in. You want into finance, manufacturing, retail, hospitality, whatever it is, pick it up and start learning a little more about it. It's easy as Google. Start reading about it, start learning more about it. And at this point, really what I ask you is that what are you doing to skill up? What have you done in the last couple of months to make yourself valuable, not just for your company, but for yourself? If you actually go change in a company, what can you say that you have gained in the last 2 months? Or what did you do in the last 2 months? Nothing. I stayed home and played with my kids, or I learned, I don't know what it is. But you guys have something beyond, okay, I'll just wait for this thing to be over. It's much better when you say, look, I've learned this and this, I've improved on this, and I have new skill sets that make me a better person and better, more effective. Okay? Let me stop right there, see if any questions, comments, any questions or anything that you want to mention. Norman, would you mind? Just
yeah, Mark. Lo is asking, I think selling still works, but needs a different approach. That's from Lo.
Okay, good. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Lo, absolutely right. You definitely need a different approach. People are still buying. You can still sell, but you need to have a different approach. And again, to get the different approach, you must put a little effort into it, figure out, first of all, accept the change. And this is the 5 ways to sell your way out of the mess is going to help you, because this actually covers exactly 5 things immediate things you can do without spending any money, pretty much, to actually get better at what you're doing and do it differently. Thank you so much for that comment. Now,
David, Mark, David's asking, he says that buying, it's still going on, but it might be, you might meet credit terms.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. And here's the thing, this is actually my first point. You're absolutely right. You got to understand your customers' priorities have changed. This is what a business should do. The businesses come together and say, look, we have a different, and we're going to talk about this. We have a different game. We have a different customer. We have different priorities our customers have. How do we adjust to address their needs? At the same time, we're still making sales and we're still successful. You're absolutely right. That's a great point. The first thing is actually really relevant to the comment just now, is that you need to revise your ideal client profile. Here's the thing, you got to remember, somebody who was your customer 2 months ago, he or she may not be your customer now. Okay, your customer profile has changed. I work with a lot of SMEs as well. I think many times the companies don't take the time to actually analyze and understand what is the ideal client profile. But I strongly urge you, not just for crisis reason, for any reason, for even if a normal business day, you need to know who's my ideal client, who's the best customer I want to attract. At the end of the day, if you don't know who you want to attract, how do you attract them? You can't just blast everything, bulk email, hoping that somebody will pick it up. You need to be more targeted. To be targeted, you have to know who you're trying to target. And now, with this crisis, you got to revise that ideal client profile. The person who was going to buy from you 3 months ago probably is not going to buy from you now. And somebody maybe who wasn't going to buy from you 3 months ago, you may be a right target for you. Again, that goes back to what you just mentioned, that you need to really know the customer changed again. For example, maybe it's just a credit issue. Maybe you can extend it for example, I was working with some startups here in Singapore, and they're a regional company. Their customers are in Europe and North America. So what they did, they really needed help because they want to ramp up the business, because they saw this as a great opportunity to sell their products in Europe and US, but they didn't have the money. So we actually changed the term. So we said, okay, because they have some funding coming in July and then later on. So we actually changed the term of payment so they can actually have more time to do it. And in the meantime, we're providing the service that they really need right now. They can't wait until July to do it. So definitely, who do you best serve? What are they currently doing, those customers? And what is their pain? How do you know they have a pain? What are the pain indicators? And what are their trigger events? What are the things that's going to trigger them a buying for them? You need to understand that so you can better align your solution. Definitely number one is understand who is your ideal client, because it may not be the same person it was 10 years or 3 months ago, right? And when it comes to doing that, finding ideal buyer, there are basically 4 buying emotions that makes people buy. One is basically upper left side, pain in the present. I have a pain right now. I need to have a mask. I have to go buy a mask. That's a pain right now. I gotta take care of this right now. It could be a pain in the future. For example, why you buy life insurance? I want to make sure my family is taken care of. I'm trying to avoid the pain in the future. It could be a gain in the present. Like a client reached out to us and said, okay, we have this new product. We want to package our product differently and sell it. I think we have a good market right now for our services because they basically packaged a remote access service for companies, and they're selling it to governments and schools, districts. So they wanted to package it and sell it to school districts. So because the customers really wanted, they wanted to gain access and be able to do remote work. It could be a gain in the present, it could be a gain in the future, kind of like when you invest for your future. You're looking at the gain in the future, that's where you're making an investment, right? That's where you're making a buy. So out of these 4, of course, when there's a crisis, where everybody's thinking very core needs, usually people focus on the upper left side, pain in the present. You gotta make sure you address their pain in the present time. That's what you'll focus on. And let's see what your client's profile, what is their current pain that you can address. Because if you go in and say, I'm gonna make you lots of money next month, when you come out of this thing, they're gonna say, well, that's great, but right now I'm trying to make it to tomorrow. So come back to me tomorrow. And again, there are ways to handling that. That's how we help companies to adjust their business, adjust their pitch and message for the audience. One important thing I heard somebody said, one of the guys who work in the US, he said, look, right now, it may not be a good time to sell, but it's definitely a great time for outreach, to your audience, to your clients. It's very important. Again, I can't emphasize enough. When you reach out to somebody in a crisis, when times are bad, and you reach out and offer to help them, they will remember that, okay? If you just call the guy, say, I know there's a COVID-19 is happening, do you want to buy anything today? That's not a very empathetic, very kind, very effective approach, because they can see right through that. The purpose has to be, I'm here to help. I'm not trying to sell anything, but I want to see how we can help. Maybe it's a conversation we can have in 3 months, 6 months, but at least we can have a conversation. And that releases the pressure on them that they don't have to, buy something from you. It's all easier for them to open and have a conversation. Okay. This talking about understanding your clients. This is very important. This is I wrote the article. Please go to my LinkedIn profile. I wrote this other article called "Which Camp Is Your Client In?" Figure out where is your client's mindset? What's your client mindset right now? Existing client or new prospects? And in the article, please read, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I identified 3 camps. Whoever you talk to, any client you come to right now, they fall into one of these 3 buckets. They're either survivalists, they're just gonna be down in the bomb shelter, they cover their head, they wanna make sure this thing is over before they come out. There are people who actually, the companies who say, no, now we have a slowdown. Let's look at our business, see how we can improve, where we can improve efficiencies, where we can improve processes, and let's invest and do what we can. They may not buy a lot, but definitely they're looking at improving things. And then the third one is a proactive camp. These are the companies who are actually going out there and really saying, this is a great opportunity, I can't miss this boat. Because if you can make it now, I promise you, when you come out of this crisis, you'll be 5-6 times bigger and much more powerful, and you have a much stronger brand in the marketplace. And these guys are saying this is a great time because guess what? My competitors are scared and they're hiding in the bomb shelter. This is a chance for me to get out there and get some business. So got to figure out what those are, and actually we work out with customers, helping them to identify how to have this conversation. And I've done it with my clients to actually have a very simple conversation about, tell me where you are. So based on this, we can adjust our conversation with you. So you may not be looking at now, fine, I'm not trying to sell anything, but let's talk about what we can do to make you ready for when the things happen. Definitely is important to have this, and read that article, again, just on my LinkedIn profile, check it out. It's important to have this, it helps you figure out where you're going. And that way you can qualify customers for now, or 6 months, or a year, like whatever it is, help you actually put energy in the right place, okay? Anybody has been to my workshops know I'm very big on qualifying customers, don't wasting time on people who don't buy. So that's important to know that, qualify them. Number 2 is become a pro at selling remotely. Very important, you gotta know how to sell remotely, okay? Now, as I said, if you think in a few weeks the COVID-19 lockdown is gonna be over and everybody's gonna go back to normal, you're really not being realistic. It's not gonna happen. Even if I think even in Singapore and Malaysia, I think it's supposed to happen in May maybe, but they might extend it again. I know Singapore did not extend it probably because it just went up again. So, but this thing happened, and look at what happened in the US. Even if they lift these barriers, do you think companies will let strangers come into their office, like show up and say hi? No, nobody's going to do that. Even if countries, even if the country says the lockdown is over, still companies and people are going to be nervous about meeting face-to-face. Anybody is going to be nervous being face-to-face. I mean, in Singapore, for example, we stopped sending our daughter to school like 2 months ago. People are going to be hesitant. So nobody's going to take you to a meeting. So don't count on having trade shows or something. So you got to get into it right now. Learn how to do remote selling. Okay? And because this at least going to take 6 months to 9 months. I was talking to a friend of mine, MD for Singapore for a company, and he said, yeah, I'm looking at about 18 months before things go back to what we want, what we were like, assuming everything goes well, assuming nothing goes haywire, this thing gets worse, okay? Become a pro at selling remotely. You need to learn video conferencing best practices. Again, we work a lot with companies helping them do that stuff. It's a pretty basic stuff, but we help them actually practice, build the right infrastructure, invest in the best conferencing tools. You can, mic, camera, light. I'm not sure how my sound looks. I mean, here I have, sitting here, I have a speaker, I have a microphone. One is Yeti microphones. They're very good for PC, having call, and I have a light in the back because I happen to be in the living room. I don't have a light, so I have this light to bounce off the wall to make it a little brighter. So, a couple of $100 will do the job, okay? Pay attention to your outfit, of course. Sign up for a video conference service. Most companies offer for free. Zoom, GoToMeeting, of course, Teams is there for free for 6 months. You have all these tools for free. Every company is trying to pitch in. They're doing it, obviously they're not doing it for the kindness of their heart, but you can leverage this, right? I mean, again, for myself, I've been using Zoom, but I actually signed up for Teams just yesterday for 6 months free, It's an amazing deal, okay? Become comfortable with presenting on video. This takes practice. Again, if you're not good at presenting to begin with, video makes it 100 times worse. Again, reach out to us, let us help you. That's what we do with hundreds and hundreds of companies, helping them do that. Don't ignore, just a shout out to security, especially since you're working from home. Make sure you have a backup. Make sure you have a cybersecurity set up. You don't want to risk your business and your life on the crazy games people play. Watch out which link you click on. Okay, those are basic things. Here, I want to stop and ask you guys a question. Serious question. What is one thing you are struggling with selling remotely? Please help us out by telling me, because I want to know. This is my survey. This is what I'm getting out of this this 1 hour live cast. I want to learn about you guys. What is one thing you're struggling with selling remotely? Please type it in. I think Norman, type it in the Q&A or reach in the chat section. I don't know. You tell me. Can you type it in the Q&A section? Is that right, Norman?
Yep, they can put it into the Q&A section.
Okay.
They're on the right-hand side of the screen.
Great. Thank you. Please take a minute.
Struggles people are facing selling remotely, I guess, is the personal one-to-one face-to-face interaction, that human touch.
Okay. Yes, traditional salespeople say, "Oh, I'm very much more comfortable, pressing flesh and being face-to-face with people." Just a simple answer is get over it. You're not going to have a choice in this matter. You have adapted before. We've been talking about digital transformation for a few years now. And everybody say, yeah, but guess what? This thing happened within a few weeks. You have to adjust, right? So definitely, yeah, I understand that. And again, it goes back to understanding the medium that you're using, the channel, and adjusting your pitch.
One more question, Mark.
Yes, sir.
One more question is, how do you demonstrate products?
Definitely when it comes to demonstrating products, there are a few things. There are so many tools out there. Thanks for that question. If it's a software, that's pretty easy. You should be able to do it pretty easily. What I've seen many companies do, and this is something we also use, we use tools like short video emails, like what is this, Hippo Mail, I think it's called. We use that service that you can actually make a short video and you can send it to customers. So for example, when we send a proposal to a customer, we can clip a short video attached to it. And actually, video doesn't stay on the email, so it doesn't make the email heavy. It's just sitting on the cloud. But they can say, okay, here's a proposal. Let me point out these 2 or 3 things about it. So a lot of times you can actually use, and again, these days there's so much technology out there to help you do that. Definitely, if you're demonstrating a product, using video, that helps a lot. If it's something you can actually hold up and present, I had a company who make gadgets and they use it just with the camera, with the computer camera. So what they did, they were creative about making some role plays about how to show different functions. It was more of a Q&A between 2 of the salespeople. For example, how do I do this? And the person will change the widget and say, this is how you make it. So definitely leveraging video is very important, and that brings a very important point. You need to get much more comfortable with video. I mean, all of us need to do that, become much more comfortable in using video. And definitely, if it's a product, the other thing I would say, especially if you're doing a demo, be it software or hardware or anything, before the people who've been to my workshop, they know me when it comes to demo, because I've been in tech for 25 years. I get so irritated when demo people show up and they like to demo the whole product within an hour or something. Before you do anything like that, understand what the customer want to see to make sure your demo is very relevant. And you don't spend 20 minutes. Just understand first, what does the customer want to see? What is it that they want? Let me give you here's another tip. Follow the 80-20 rule when it comes to demoing or showing some product. 80-20 rule is that the fact is, imagine the phone you have right now, you're using right now for this, or you have in your pocket a smartphone. A single cell phone you have now has more power than Apollo that went to the moon like 50 years ago, right? It has more technology, more power than the whole world, the globe had 30 years ago. but we're only using what? A fraction of those functions. We just do WhatsApp and do WeChat, right? So the bottom line is the customers are not using 100% of your product. They're only probably using 5-10%. I mean, these days, like maybe 1% of the product. Focus on that 1 to 5-10% that matters to the customer and focus on demoing those. And don't waste time on the other stuff because it just makes it more complicated. Thanks so much. That's a very good question.
Mark, there's one question from Farzam. What if it's if you're providing service, clients stop buying? For me, they stop hiring. How do you address that?
Definitely not knowing what the services will be tough to know. The question is going back to finding out who is exactly your customer again. Who is your buyer now? Who would need your product right now? And if they don't need your product right now, when do they? If you say no, actually our product is something that, for example, it's a services that they make your fingernails as beautiful, right? And these days nobody cares about fingernails being beautiful. That's a discussion for maybe 6 months down the road when they actually can get outside and show off their nails. In that case, what I really want to do now is to first of all understand that's what I will need to do. Then I start having conversations and line up my business and opportunities for 6 months. So when the time comes, I am ready to pitch in. I'm ready to actually sell. The other thing is, if you need to look at other markets that you have ignored because you're making enough money from your current market, you didn't care about the other markets. Has that changed much? Because again, many of us, that's a reality, especially in SME. You get 2 or 3 deals and you're busy for 6 months, and guess what? You're not going to go out and hunt anymore, right? It's a feast and famine mentality. When we have to eat, you're going to be eating and you're going to be busy, then we have nothing to eat, you go out and run around. So understanding if our existing customer base is not there anymore, is there some other markets that we can go after to help find new markets? That's about what I said at point 1. Who's your ideal customer? And can you find new ones? Those are the kind of things, again, that we work a lot with clients to figure out what should be their go-to-market strategy, those kind of things. Even for smaller companies, they need to do that. But yeah, absolutely, not understanding the service. If you want to send me an email, if you can be more specific, I'll be glad to. If I have any advice, I'll definitely say something. Because you can take it or leave it, but I'll make a suggestion, and if it works for you, that'll be great. There's absolutely no problem. Excellent question. Because services, of course, very different. I we work with a lot of consulting companies where they sell not a tangible product, but a service. And the conversation and messaging is quite different. It takes a little different approach they need to have, and that's the kind of things, that's the kind of projects we do. So if you want to reach out to me, I'll be glad to help. Okay? Now, any other questions? Can we go on?
We have a few more, but then we'll just continue on with the presentation until the end, and we'll come back to it.
Absolutely. Any question you have, please put it in. I'll make sure I get back to you. I promise you I'll get back to you one way or the other. Or I'll just come back and say, I have no idea what to do. Or definitely will give you some references, all right? No worries, okay? Now, the other thing I want to say is that, especially if you're a manager, owner, you got to really be honest with yourself. Please be honest with yourself. Don't do the, whistling past the graveyard that, does my sales team know how to sell remotely? It's the funniest thing. I was talking to actually a manager. They have about a decent sized company in Malaysia, and they have like 15 plus salespeople. And I just point blank asked them, because their salespeople are not performing. I said, by the way, do your salespeople know how to sell remotely? And he just said, no. And it's like, really? Then how do you expect them to succeed? It's just, you haven't provided them any support, any knowledge, any actually awareness that selling remotely is different than selling face to face. Then how do you expect these people to change and be successful? So first of all, you really got to think about, can my people actually sell remotely? And sell doesn't mean it doesn't have to be a hardcore salesperson. Even a customer representative, can they do this remotely, right? It's important to ask that question of yourself. Number 3 is become a social seller. Again, as I said, I wrote a book on social selling. We do a lot of workshops, seminars for salespeople and managers about how to leverage social media. With social media, especially because my space is B2B, most of my work is in B2B, so really what we focus on is helping companies reach out and be successful with their company. Personally, I do not believe you can reach your sales potential if you don't leverage social media. Having said that, I don't think social media by itself is going to sell you anything. You still need a salesperson who actually knows how to sell. Social media can help you create awareness, create brand, help you become more recognized. But the actual selling part doesn't. Nobody has ever bought anything from me just because they saw my post on social media. As brilliant as my stuff is, nobody's ever bought from me just because of my post. I still have to engage and sell them the idea, add value, okay, beyond the social media. So again, social media, you can add three things. You can leverage social media right now to add three things. People, add more people to your network and build your network stronger. Again, just a very quick thing. People means make sure it's the right people. Not everybody's your, is the right person to connect with. For example, I don't accept people's LinkedIn requests unless I see it's relevant to me. It's no point, okay? Just having a network of 10,000 people doesn't help you because the links are too weak. Just because somebody says hello to me in the street doesn't mean he can ask me for 10 bucks, okay? Excuse me. So definitely want to make sure you can get more people, you can build opportunities. Again, you can reach out effectively. Again, we have full workshops on how to be effective on social media, okay? And you can collect information, learn about your clients. The current pipeline you have is a great chance to use social media to learn more about your clients, okay? And you can focus on identifying the right audience, especially if you have things like Sales Navigator from LinkedIn. You can narrow down your target audience and have a much more targeted audience based on our company size, based on the position, based on revenue, that kind of thing, based on their preference and all that stuff. And definitely, you can build your brand by the content you share, your advocate and your customer, a subject matter expert, like be it finance, be it retail, insurance, whatever it is. That will really help you leveraging social media, and it costs you nothing. It costs you zero to write an interesting article, post it on LinkedIn, and send it to your network, right? And best the tool for listening to the marketplace, right? And what I would say, leverage many tools. I can spend literally days on this thing. There are literally thousands of free tools out there for the internet, for social media to help you do everything. Automate things, automate the actual regular activities, manage different social media channels, Hootsuite, and the dozens of other ones. I mean, there's so many of them. Definitely, there's lots of things out there for you to use. And again, in programs we do focus a lot and help the companies build the whole structure and everything. Number 4, very big one, pick up the phone. I've got to speed up here. Pick up the phone, okay? Now is the best time to engage via telephone. The great time right now, because all those executives you couldn't get to because of so many gatekeepers and everything, they're no longer there. Those VPs, senior VPs and business owners you're trying to get a hold of, you can never get them. Now they're sitting at home, bored just like you, playing with their kids, watching Netflix, they're bored to death. So they like to talk to somebody. Pick up the phone, call them, okay? Find them and call them and have a conversation. Again, don't call them and pitch. Call them to have a conversation. And just what I just said, that's the kind of workshop we do around understanding what this conversation is, what this pitching is, which you shouldn't do at all when you call people, okay? Phone is the best, fastest path to success because you can quickly qualify people. If they're not your customer, then don't waste your time. What do? You blast 20 emails, 100 emails, and you wait 6 weeks or 2 days or 5 days, and you send another email, It takes you weeks to find out. Basically, you get nothing. Phone call, you can immediately qualify and get out of there and move on to the next one. Learn how to prospect the right way. I'm 99% sure you're doing it wrong, just based on my experience. I know most of the people, if you guys at all doing prospecting by phone, I'm sure 99% chance you're doing it wrong. There's a right way of doing prospecting, there's a wrong way. Most people do the wrong way. They call and pitch, they sell, they try to sell, which is you should never do on the prospecting call. Again, that's what that winning formula book, that's what it talks about. Figure out how many calls, emails, and you need to make to hit your number. By the way, after this session, we have a what do you call it? A survey. If you respond to the survey, you get some free tools. One of them is this calculator on Excel. You can type in your revenue target as a company or as a sales individual, and then say how many calls you make, how many emails you send, and what's the effectiveness, and it can tell you how much activity you have to do to hit your number. Again, let me warn you, the number is going to be huge. But the point is, that's the fact. You need to look at the reality, okay? Stop just hoping and praying that things will work out. The IDA principle, this is the principle that really, it's been around for over 100 years. If you want to sell to somebody, the bottom line is this is what we go through in that winning formula and many other programs. IDA is about anytime you want to sell to somebody, is first of all, you got to get their attention, then you have to gain their interest. Once you gain attention and interest, then they have a desire to work with you. Once they have a desire to work with you, that's when they're going to take action. So you got to follow that process. Anytime you engage, you have to follow that framework. And that's what we really do with companies, help them figure that out and help them build the message right. Build an engagement process using multi-channel. Don't just use phones or emails or social alone. You got to mix them. And again, we build campaigns as a combination. You got to make sure you do that if you want to be effective. Build a multi-touch system. And final point, 5, build your plan and execute it. Again, Winston Churchill said, he who fails to plan is planning to fail. And the way things are going, again, you have to build your plan for, if you already have a plan for the year, I'm not sure how many people do. I'm surprised when I do workshops, especially, I've done multiple workshops in Malaysia or Singapore, Thailand. When I ask, what is your business plan? They don't have one, okay? But it's good to have one. It's even a one-pager, not a big thing. But build your plan. If you have a plan, you need to review it because numbers have changed. As initially said, people said they're not going to hit their numbers. You got to change your plan. If you have the same, anyway, so you got to change your plan. The thing is, there are things you can't control. You can't control the results. You cannot control the results. You never can. You just can't tell your salespeople, go get me more sales. You can't, because you can't control the results. What you can control is activities. But you can get your salespeople to make more calls, make better emails, make better engagements. You can control that, right? And you've got to focus on that. Spend time to review your business plan for the year and see what needs updating. Things like revenue, profit goals, budgets, sales targets, reps. These are the things you want to do. Staffing, compensation, target market. These are, I think, I'm just going to put them up there. You can read. Mark, you got to review that and see how you need to change that. Again, if you haven't changed your plan from 2 months ago or 3 months ago, and you're sitting there right now, you're not going to make it because you're not going to hit your number. The world is working differently than your plan. Whatever you think your plan was, the world is not going with your plan. The world has changed. So if you don't change with that, you're going to pay the price, bottom line. And again, you might just say, okay, that's okay, because here's the other thing. You get complacency from leadership and the company owners that you have salespeople who don't achieve their numbers. And they're there month after month, year after year, quarter after quarter. So by keeping them there, by not changing your plan, by not actually having clear guidance and plan, you're making people accept mediocrity and poor performance as being acceptable. So if you haven't changed your plan from 3 months ago, then you really need to look at that. And let me see what else we got. Okay, here we go. It's time for Q&A, of course. Again, as I said, you gotta have a survey. I think the link that I think normally somebody's gonna send it from VLAN. If you fill out the survey, respond to it, then you gotta get these 3 things: the 10 tips on building your LinkedIn profile, a sales activity calculator, and a 1-pager media plan that helps you build your media plan, social media plan, for your business or individual. You can use it for business. And again, when it's here, plan doesn't have to be a 50-page thing. It could just be a single pager, but at least get you to think at least for 1 hour, how am I going to leverage social media? The important thing is you actually thinking about it instead of just reacting. Oh, we need a LinkedIn page because everybody else has one. Okay, I'll stop talking now. So, I think you're just right on time. Any thought, Norman, Lance, anybody has anything you want to add?
Yeah, there are some questions, Mark. Do you want to take them?
Absolutely. I'll be glad to if they can stay, or yeah, absolutely.
Okay, one of it is this whole remote selling, especially MCO period, are deemed to be in negotiation state, and progresses to buying states are delayed pretty long. So what's your take on that?
Sorry, say that again?
This whole remote, this whole remote selling, especially MCO period, are deemed to be in a negotiation state, and the progress buying state are delayed pretty long. What's your take on that? Is it a what do you call it? Is it a negotiation state? Do you think this is what they're doing when they do the online face-to-face selling?
So you're saying, usually the negotiation stage you can do remotely, but the actual selling part, the initial parts is actually face-to-face? Is that what you're saying?
No, he says that all these things that we're doing is just a negotiation. That's his take on it. Is that what it is? What do you think? What's your opinion?
Sorry, negotiation with what?
Meaning to say that this online conferencing, the demonstration online, it's all negotiation. It's not selling because people are not going to buy it unless they see the actual product. Is that what?
Okay, okay, interesting. That's an interesting definition of negotiation. Well, actually, negotiation means something very different to me. Well, look, the whole time, first of all, I would say, doesn't matter if you're face-to-face. I've been selling remotely. I've been teaching companies to sell remotely for easily 15 plus years. First of all, you can take a customer, I can take a customer remotely from beginning, from first engagement all the way until the close, until delivery, right? I can do that. You can call it negotiation if you want, but the phases are still the same. You still have to build value up front, so the customer is interested to talk to me. That doesn't change. You may say, oh, that's a negotiation about for them giving you time. You can call it that, but you still have to build the value. The value has to be there. It could be remote, it could be in person. But definitely about the timeline and how long the sales cycle is and when does that close, that has a lot to do with your qualifying that deal properly. As part of that, engagement from the first minute that you have a call with them or have a conversation, you're going to start qualifying the customer. And at the same time, you're building value, building value for the customer and qualifying, is he or she my customer, all until you close. But definitely doing a demo, doing basically building value, having discovery calls, those are not, I wouldn't call those negotiation. You can do it, but the fact is, many times when you do discovery of a customer, it's done over the phone. You may have a first meeting face-to-face, but you don't have to meet the guy every time face-to-face. You're going to do a lot of those things on the phone. And definitely with this as well, you can definitely do a lot of those discovery things on the phone. And then basically you get a commitment. And again, the sales process is all about getting customer commitment, basically incremental, step-by-step buy-in from the customer. So you go through these gates, does the customer have a need? Yes or no? Did the customer say they have a need? Okay, that's one milestone. Next thing is he or she right? Do I need to confirm with other people? So you're actually building the process. So I wouldn't say it's a negotiation all the way, but negotiation is part of it. If you talk about negotiation in a sense, if you talk about price negotiation, that's a very different conversation. But yeah, I see it as you still have to build the value, be it by phone and in person. And doing demo, you definitely may have the customer say, well, I'm not ready to buy right now. Then the question is, between now and then, that becomes a different conversation. I'm not ready to buy that right now. I would say, okay, that's fine. I understand 6 months from now. But between now and 6 months, how do I stay in touch with you? How do I stay top of mind so we don't lose each other? I may have that kind of conversation and give the person complete control to say, okay, you tell me I'll get lost for right now, that's fine. But I want to know how can I do that? And by having that honest discussion, it makes your path to future, and then that means that I can move on to somebody else. Now I got time, free up my time to go after somebody else. I'm not sure if that directly answers that question, but I hope it does. If you need more clarity, by all means, I'll be glad to, talk with you more and message you. There's no problem. Okay.
Okay, there is a comment here, Mark. There's a comment here
Yes.
that to gain trust via remote selling is more difficult. So how do you gain trust to do remote selling?
Actually, getting trust remotely is actually, to be honest, I really don't think it's any harder. The question is, have you done your homework? Look, if I call your company and I say, whatever your company does, and I'm very educated, and I educated myself. I spent 30 minutes to look up your website. I know the people who are at the meeting. I know what their job is. I know what they did before. If I have a call with you and I say, oh, hey, Lance, I know you've been doing this. You've been very successful. I saw you had a product launch. Congratulations on that. Great job, right? That to me, I don't know how you feel about it, but that to me is a lot more important than the guy showing up at the door and asking me stupid questions like, what keeps you up at night? Okay, so to me, that first guy gains a lot more trust, especially, and don't forget, everybody is going through this. Your customers are also going through this. It's not like they're not aware that they can no longer, they have the same situation with their customers. So it's something that everybody's learning. First of all, accepting this thing and then adjust it. And definitely the way you present yourself on video is very important, and also preparation. And again, Lance, you've been through my sessions, and some of you guys have been through my sessions. I'm very particular. If you don't do that pre-work, if you're not planning for success in a meeting, you will fail remotely or in person. The important thing is, do you value that customer enough to actually prepare and show that you care about them? That's the bottom line. But what I would say, especially now, you definitely have to show more empathy and show more human side and have a human-to-human connection. And to me, that's even easier now to connect with people and build trust. Because see, when you went in the old days, when I go see an MD or VP of sales or marketing, everybody sits in a meeting, starts to talk like educated, more of a conversation, very polite, and everybody's chest puffed up and they feel like they have VP of this and that. But now they're a lot more human. So you can have a lot more human conversation and build a real trust. And your empathy and your caring matters a lot more now than before. So you need to show a different side of you, and that's where you can actually get much more traction now than you did 3 months ago, because you can have a conversation. I can give you a bunch of examples, scenarios happen, but I don't want to take your time. But it's a yes or no. Again, depends on your approach. But thank you for that. That's a very good comment.
Yep, I agree with that. I actually agree with that, because we actually try to be a lot more empathetic with some of our customers as well, especially those who can't really pay now. Okay, there's another comment here that says we struggle to deliver proper message for the first impression compared when you are face to face.
Right. This is first of all, I promise you, if you actually go through that messaging that you have for face to face, that also needs some work on it. But of course, maybe your body language, all the other signals adding value to it. And again, don't forget, as I say, the words that you say only counts for 7% of the message you communicate. The other 93% comes from your tone of voice and your body language. So when you're face to face, of course, that plays a bigger role, right? And that's, by the way, that's scientific. Only 7% of what you communicate to others is through the words you use. The other 93% is your body language and your tone of voice. So having remotely, that's exactly why you need to be a social, become good at remote selling, because you lack some of those personal, body language things. You need to make up for it with better engagement, better messaging, more powerful, and also, again, having your video on. For example, always have your video on. Don't just be like talking with voice alone, because there's a company who said, like, when they had a video on, the person had a video, even though the customer didn't have a video on, but the salesperson did, the revenue increased by 3 times just because they had a video on versus they didn't have a video on. So that by itself builds trust quite a bit, just seeing you. And actually seeing your body, seeing your nod, move, that makes a big difference, okay? Thank you so much. Any other thoughts?
Yep. What are some effective online content we can use during this period? I suppose the question is more on tools, I suppose.
Oh, look, there are so many tools depending on what you want to do. If you want, I can, for example, if you're looking, for example, social media, I would just literally, there are hundreds. I mean, there's like a few dozen that we have used, some we use regularly, but the game changes so fast. Again, what I would really focus on, let me just give you a warning. Tools are just tools. If, as the old saying goes, tool with a, what's the saying? A fool with a tool is still a fool. So if you don't have a plan, you don't have an actual strategy, getting tools is not going to help do anything. It's just a tool. So I would really strongly suggest first think about your plan, what you want to achieve, then go see who does it. And it's easy as Googling it. And if there's a particular thing you want to know, just send it to me. I'll be glad to just recommend you a bunch of stuff. That's not a problem. But again, build your plan first. Okay? That's the one that matters. Tools.
I agree with that. One of the comments that I personally would give is, instead of being a content consumer, do create your own content as well. So that's what we are doing as well. So create content. Don't just consume content.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. If you have the capability to create content, you have something unique you want to say, absolutely do that. But also, again, definitely curating content is a good approach. Taking the content from, for example, let me give you an example. I totally agree with you, Lance. If you can do the content yourself, that gives you a lot of value. But here's the other thing. If you actually, for example, if you guys go see my article and you liked it, right? You didn't write it, you liked it. You take that article and send it over to a client of yours and say, hey, John, I saw this article that seems interesting because it talks about that I think you find interesting, right? When John gets that message, he doesn't say, oh, Mark wrote this. He said, no, Lance, you sent it to me. Lance sent me this article. So you get the credit, even though you didn't write it. So definitely, but again, put in a context around it. Don't just forward things. Okay, that's a lazy ass thing to do, okay? I had people who just post things that say, oh yeah, I like this one. It's like, well, what's the context, right? So definitely adding that context, it makes it personalized and it shows that you care and you know the customer or whoever you're sending it to, right?
Yeah, Mark, there's one question here. He's asking, how do you sell real estate remotely? That's from Mike.
I would really ask the question, having been in a real estate business back in the States and mortgage business, you definitely did that remotely. But the question is, what are the tools you're using now and how are you doing it? Do you have any tools for that? Or, I mean, obviously, again, what I would say, here's the thing. Very simply, I'll say, okay, who's my customer? Who's my buyer? Okay, what do they care about when they buy it? Is this I don't know if it's commercial or private? Is it residential or commercial? What are the things they care about? What are the things they want to see? That's the bottom line they have to see before they actually go to the next, qualify for the initial phase of saying, yes, I'm interested to see this place or read more about it or get a price. Then you just build the new steps that aligns with remote selling and with the customer's requirement. It's not rocket science. Again, you have to think, okay, what is my customer journey? And again, this goes back to what we do with a lot of companies. We help them build the whole customer journey and then align your sales process with the customer buying journey. Now, what happens now, we have a new layer that you can't be face-to-face so much or at all. Which are the parts we can add? Which are the parts we need to either postpone or have explanation why is this happening? Do we replace video or do we replace an audio? Or do we have testimonial? What are the things we could do? Okay. For example, if the game has changed, when somebody calls our office, do we have a receptionist to build some credibility for me before she passes the phone to me? So when the person picks up when I'm talking to that prospect, he or she already heard that I'm the best in the business, or I've sold 10,000 houses in the last month or something. Again, it goes back to figuring out your customer buying process and aligning your sales process, then seeing, okay, where are the components we can actually either automate or add remote or do remote sessions, that kind of thing. So it's again, this is a common stuff that we do. It's not that complicated.
Just to add on a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Mike, you asked the question about how to sell real estate remotely. There are startups around in town, right, in Malaysia, also in the States as well, that actually sell real estate through online viewings. I'm not sure whether or not you've seen tools such as VR goggles, where you can actually view the property remotely. You can actually walk inside the property as well. So those are tools that are available. You can actually list on sites like those. So your prospects can also have a look and feel at how the place looks like. Of course, you can't feel it, but then you can actually at least see the view and such. So there could be some avenues you can explore in that area.
Great. Yeah. Good point. Excellent point.
Right. So, Mark, that's all the time we have for today, Mark.
Okay, great.
I hope this session was informative for all of y'all. And for those who are wondering if we're going to be sending the PowerPoint and video, yes, we will be emailing you. If you did not receive it, you can still go down to vlan.asia, the blog site where we will have all the webinars up there. Also, we would like you to give us your feedback. Yeah, I'm going to share with you the screen now. Yeah, this is where you can put your feedback on. Yeah, for all your Q&As and feedbacks, you can scan this QR code and take the survey. There are some stuff that we are giving away, right, Mark?
Yeah, if I get their email address and their questions, whatever comments they have, I'll be glad to send it to them. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Mark will answer all your questions. You can also follow him on his social media, LinkedIn. On another note, on this Thursday, we are also going to be having another session to address crisis with collection, 5 ways to automate financial processes and manage your books. So if you're free, you can join us at 2 p.m. this Thursday. The link is over here. Just give me a second. This is the link. It's 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So if you're interested in knowing how to manage your crisis with collection and automate your processes and manage your books from home, this will be a good session on this coming Thursday. Yeah. Yep. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you again this Thursday. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Best of luck. Stay safe.